Hi there, it's Kristen from k.becca, and today I'll be showing you some clean and simple card projects that I made using the Love Always digital papers and digital stamps that you can find in my shop at k.becca.com. I'll link to everything in the description area below if you want to check it out. There are 8 different patterns in the Love Always digital papers collection, and they come in a color palette of red, blush pink, bubblegum pink, and peach, with a little bit of purpley pink in there too. The collection includes all 8 patterns in their original colorways, plus 6 of the 8 patterns in alternate colorways. And as I was designing this collection, I realized that these patterns would be great candidates for hot foiling too. So I included each of the 8 designs in black with transparent backgrounds, which can be printed onto white cardstock and foiled with a Mink or a laminator or other hot foiling machine. Okay, now that you've seen a little preview of the patterns, I'm going to show you a few card projects that you can make with them. I'll also be using some of the DIY hot foil acetate elements that I made in an earlier video, and if you want to check out how I made those, then head over to the video in the link that should be popping up right about now. For the first card, I've used one of the designs from set 6 of the card front sets that you can find in my shop. I resized it down to 3.75 inches wide by 5 inches tall in Silhouette Studio and cut each piece from a different pattern. I'll be attaching these pieces to a top folding A2 size card base, which I also have here. In order to make it easy to line up and adhere to the card base, I'll flip the 2 pattern cardstock pieces over and line them up as they'll be in the finished piece. Then I'll use a double-sided adhesive runner and run it across both pieces as I cover the back with adhesive. Doing this basically turns the 2 pieces into one, and it's so much easier to line up on the card this way. I'll line it up over the center of the front of the card base and press it into place. Next, I want to add some rose gold foil acetate elements to the card. I want the acetate elements to have some dimension, so I'll be using Cool Tack clear foam squares to attach them. The Cool Tack squares are easy to cut into smaller pieces with scissors, and I'll be doing that since the foil acetate elements have thinner solid areas and lines. I'll adhere the cut Cool Tack squares all around the back of the You Are Loved sentiment piece, mostly in the areas where the lettering is thicker, so they'll be completely hidden. But it's not a problem if some smaller pieces go into the clear areas on the acetate because you really can't see them unless you're up very close to the card. After I'm finished adhering the Cool Tack, I'll peel off the clear protective film to uncover the adhesive, and we'll center the sentiment over the front of the card and press into place to adhere. I want to add just a little more embellishment to finish off this card, so I'm going to attach a rose gold acetate heart, also using the Cool Tack. I like how this looks, but I think it feels a little bit unbalanced, so I'm going to attach a second acetate heart, this time on the other side of the sentiment to balance out the design. And that will finish this first card. For the second card, I'm going for a lighter, less bold look. I've used one of the designs from set 4 of the card front sets that you can find in my shop, and I resized it down to 5¼ inches wide by 4 inches tall before cutting each piece from a different pattern using a Silhouette Cameo. I also have a horizontal top folding A2 card base here. I'll turn the 2 pieces over, line them up, and use a double-sided adhesive runner in the same way that I did for the first card, running it across both pieces as I cover the back with adhesive. Then I'll line it up over the center of the front of the card base and press it into place. I'll be using red foil acetate elements for this card, and instead of adding dimension with the Cool Tack, I'm going to adhere them to the card using the Tombow Mono Aqua Liquid Glue, which goes on clear and dries clear. I'll dot the glue all around the back of the acetate sentiment, and if you get some of the glue onto the clear areas of the acetate, don't worry about it because this glue dries crystal clear. After I'm finished adding the glue, I'll line the sentiment up toward the bottom right of the card where the 2 patterns meet, and I'll press it in place to adhere. To finish the card, I'll use the same glue to attach 2 red foil acetate hearts above and toward the right end of the sentiment. For the third card, I cut just the top piece from one of the card front designs in set 1 of the card front sets from my shop. I kept it at its original size and cut it from a blush pink and white heart pattern. I also cut a piece of wood grain cardstock from Simon Says Stamp to A2 size, which is 4¼ inches wide by 5½ inches tall. I love the texture that this cardstock adds to any project, and it pairs really well with patterned papers too. First, I'll cover the back of the wood grain cardstock with double-sided adhesive, and then I'll adhere it to the front of a top-folding A2 size card base. Next, I'll cover the back of the patterned piece with the same adhesive and adhere it at the top of the card. To finish the card, I'll attach the sentiment, which is a print and cut element that I foiled on white cardstock. I don't need to worry about clear adhesive for this because it's cardstock, so I'll add white foam squares to the back of the element to give it a little bit of dimension, cutting the squares into smaller pieces where needed. Then I'll peel the protective paper from the squares to uncover the adhesive, and I'll center the sentiment at the bottom of the pattern piece on the card and press it into place to finish. You can find a full list of supplies used to make these cards in the description area below, or in the area below the video if you're watching on k.becca.com. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more clean and simple card making projects, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll tune in again soon.